Hey, hi, good morning, good evening, and thanks for joining Live with Hype. We have great pleasure to have Anthony here today, the Vice President of the baseball Toronto Blue Jays. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Amir, how are you?
Very well, thank you very much. You are talking from Toronto, yeah?
Yes, from Toronto, Canada, I am today.
Excellent. So, really, I think that the session today, as always, is going to focus on innovation and how innovation is helping baseball bring baseball back. I know the Blue Jays is pretty innovative already in your strategy and approach, and interesting to hear how did you cope with the current challenges and the new reality we live in. Also, I'm sure, baseball lovers and also overall the sports universe is interesting to hear, what kind of active steps you took in the last few weeks. And I also know that you're part of the Hype Virtual Accelerator program and actually looking at proactively looking for great innovations to, I would say, to impact the sports. So interesting to hear your thoughts on that. So maybe you can start by introducing yourself a little bit and what are you doing in the Blue Jays?
Well, I've been with the Jays now. It's probably around 22 years, so I've got quite a number of years experience in sports and entertainment. Been through a lot. Have actually had a conversation earlier today with someone that I've seen a lot, but never really expected to have a pandemic as part of my IT career and working through professional sports and trying to deal with the challenges that come with that. It's definitely been a very interesting time in trying to engage our fans when we're not in a position to even have fans in the stadium anymore. So it's really sort of pushed us in being able to come up with different ways, working with the league, which is Major League Baseball, in helping us come up with ways to keep our fans engaged during our broadcasts that are on the air, as well as just finding still different ways of getting our fans to still be a part of us. One of the things that we did, which isn't necessarily a high-tech solution, but it's something that's become quite popular, is the cardboard cutouts. Giving the fans that opportunity to still be a part of the game and submit their photos and putting those into the stands. We've did a bit of a second screen type of engagement with our fans during broadcasts through our ballpark app, which is through Major League Baseball. That'll allow some gamification for the fans through either like trivia, play some bingo, just to keep them engaged while they're watching the games on television. Also using social media, like I know at the start of everything that was happening, we really just use social media to message our fans, making sure that they knew that they were going to be taken care of, that we're going to address any of their concerns around ticket purchases, and just keep them informed about what was happening with the games. As things kind of got into a little bit of a normal of just sort of waiting COVID out a little. We hosted a couple of Zoom chats where we brought in some of our players and allowed fans to be able to take part and just watch our players interact with one another in a very social environment. So we did that for a couple of events, and then we started moving in towards getting ready for the baseball season, and again used mainly like the traditional social media channels to keep our fans engaged. Major League Baseball just recently signed an agreement with Snap to try to do a little bit more around augmented reality in their in their app to give clubs the ability to do more there. So we're just starting to experiment with what may be possible on that front using the platform that was presented to us through Major League Baseball.
Great. So a lot of, I would say, thinking and attention and actions with regards to the fans, which I think is the right thing to do, especially in those, I would say, as you said, crazy times around us now. But for the, we have audiences which are from all over the world. This is a Hype, the global platform, and from different sports. Can you share what's the status now in baseball at all in the US? What's status with the league? I had a conversation earlier today with vice presidents of the hockey league, and I heard about their, now approaching the semifinals and how they worked in bubbles. How, what's happening now for somebody who's not following baseball? What's the status now? And let me just put the air conditioner up. Sorry.
Yeah, for baseball, the league decided to not do bubbles. It was each club was to play in their home facility. So every club is playing in a home facility except for us. We, with sort of the travel restrictions that were in place with the between the Canadian and U.S. government, it was just decided that it would not be wise for the Jays to be playing in Toronto. So we bounced around looking for a couple of locations, and we finally found a home in Buffalo, which we were able to convert and make it into a Major League ready stadium within 2-week time frame, which was incredible amount of work on all of those that took part in being physically there, and those that worked from Toronto and from Florida to make that all happen. We, as a league, there were some bumps, I think, along the way. Like there were some pretty extensive breakouts of COVID with a couple of the teams. But as long, the teams were able to work through that, I think some of the protocols and some of the backup plans that MLB had with the extended rosters allowed for the games to, or for the teams to be able to recoup and start up in a rather reasonable fashion. I think recently it's been much better, but there's still, with everything, like once you're sort of mixing in with the general population, like there's going to be a little bit more of a risk of getting infected versus playing in the bubbles. There has been some discussions, though I'm not sure exactly how far along they are because I've just really read them in news reports, that the league is possibly looking at a bubble around for postseason when that kicks off. So there may be a transition down the road for that, but at this time, it's all the clubs are going through their health protocols and trying to keep the players and the staff as safe as they can.
Got it. People are, I think there is a consensus around us that what COVID did is accelerated processes and accelerated, anything to do with engagement. There is a lot of, I would say, activities around automation now. I think I mentioned in one of the sessions, our Bundesliga partners have decided to bring back their innovation from 2025 to 2021. So there is acceleration of activities, and I think obviously innovation is in the heart of that. But can you share a little bit about your, I would say, innovation philosophy or strategy as a club, as a team, and whether it's changed a lot with the COVID? Just to add on that, some clubs and teams I talk to, they say we didn't have any innovation strategy. We are just meeting a lot of startups and technologies, and if we decide to take something, we take it. Some have very clear agenda of where they want to be in, 2 years, 5 years time, and they are in the process of implementing. So where are you in this case?
Well, I think we're probably in the middle. The COVID really helped shine the light on technology and being able to leverage using technology to engage fans differently, and having us imagine like what the return of the fan to the stadium is going to be. So we're definitely looking at ways of improving what we're doing. Um, some of the things that we've been definitely talking a lot about is like how do we leverage like a second screen experience, or like viewing parties. Like Major League Baseball, things are a little bit different with the way our relationship works. That we are not allowed to go and create our own apps. Like we work in conjunction with Major League Baseball to do that. So there are some boundaries that we're bound by. So we're constantly working with the league and trying to find different ways of engaging our fans through their platforms. So again, like I mentioned earlier, like there was the announcement recently with Snap to work with them, but they also have some other ways of engaging fans through contests. We're also working with our sponsors and trying to keep them engaged through our online app as well. And then we also have our ownership, who in Canada is a telecom company. So we're also trying to do things with them in order to improve the viewing experience for fans. So in that front, it's definitely, I think there seems to be like a pretty obvious play of trying to implement or integrate some type of a viewing party experience, where like right now you can't bring your fans to the stadium, or you can't have really large crowds attending, but have them do that virtually, where you could be in your living room being able to watch the game and interact, and having digital fan zones through that. So I think that's one area where it really gets me excited about being able to see what can happen there. I think another area of innovation that I would like to see things kind of move towards more is augmented reality. As we know, in the past, everybody would rush to the ballpark to try to get the player to sign a ball, or try to get close and interact with the player. Who knows when that's going to be allowed again, just based on distancing needs. So being able to leverage an augmented reality where you're able to take a live action within the field, like for an example would be batting practice. So player is out taking batting practice. The cameras are set up in such a way that becomes something that you can view through an augmented reality lens through your smartphone, and then you can interact with that player. So you can go take a picture standing in the batters, like right next to him taking his swings, and all of a sudden you've got this photo, which you can then turn around and sponsor it with a sponsor, and so you start layering on these other initiatives of being able to engage your fans through different ways than previously. It's like, okay, we just invite you to the field and you can watch batting practice. Now it's like, well, we can invite you to watch batting practice virtually, and get your picture taken, and the picture that you're going to get is actually going to be a quality photo. So I think we're constantly sort of looking and trying to see what's out there, and trying to find vendors that we can work with, possibly to bring some of that to reality, and introduce them to Major League Baseball, and try to get everybody onto the same page there. But I think now is definitely an opportunity for technology to really drive the fan experience going forward more than it ever has been.
Absolutely. And on this coming Tuesday, we will have a great way to demonstrate exactly what you just said, where we will have partners, not only in baseball, but also in football and soccer, and almost every sport will present some, I would say, actions they took in terms of solving their challenges, and you will be one of them. And I don't want to spoil the surprise for Tuesday, but maybe you can share with us a little bit about what was behind your decision, because you're very, I would say, proactive in the innovation space. Why did you have to join, the Hype Global Accelerator to see startups? You see them anyway. What value what were you thinking?
Well, I think the program itself just really gave us the opportunity to just see many vendors in one spot. Like innovation, it's easy to do like the safe stuff and go to like a Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Like they're the safe, easy picks. I think when you start looking at really where innovation comes, it comes from these startups. They start looking at things differently. They're a lot more agile and being able to work. So I thought this would be a really good opportunity to just get exposed to some of the new technologies that are definitely emerging. And I'm quite happy to take part in it because I saw some things that like really excited me technology wise, and some of them may not be necessarily there just yet, but the trajectory of where they're going it's going to be really exciting to see some of these companies sort of grow over the coming years. So it's I think for me it was really just to get that exposure and see what's to come. And then if there's a good fit to be able to get in with one of these earlier companies and being able to help shape some of the product and get in almost like on the ground floor of their success.
Yeah. And I think, together with Ryan, who led this program very successfully, we really, I think, also learned a lot by engaging directly with, big teams like yourself and learning about your challenges. Can you share a little bit about the process? How did it work for you in terms of investing on time and, evaluating the startups, choosing pilots?
Yeah, for me, it was I went in with a very open mind. It was really easy to kind of go, hey, I only want to look at one or two things, and just kind of leave it at that. But instead, I made sure that I went in with a very open mind and looked at our business end to end, and sort of although the companies that I shortlisted, they're varied. Like I went from very physical ones where hand sanitizer, like all the way up to like augmented reality, and sort of looked at each area of the business that would potentially benefit from engaging with one of these vendors. Like I didn't want to just sort of stick into one vertical. I thought it was very important to make sure that I went right across the entire company to find something that would work. And I think at the end it must have been like 5 or 6 different companies that we shortlisted to get to know each one of them. At the end, they all had very impressive offerings. Some of them may not be ready to move forward with fully, but they're all ones that I still want to maintain relationships with, because I think in the future, somewhere down the road, would definitely be able to work with each one of them to some degree. So it's really, for me, it was just open mind, learn to see how we can possibly integrate the solution into our environment, or devise a pilot that would to be able to do like a proof of concept to see what we can potentially come up with.
Yeah, and just to add that for the startups, it's priceless, obviously, to interact with you, to get to hear directly about what you're really looking for. That's for them, it's beyond anything they can imagine. So let me take you a little bit, Anthony. It's a question I like to ask our partners. In baseball, if I look at the future, and you've been, with the Jays, you mentioned over 20 years. If I take my son to your game, hopefully back in Toronto, in 5 years' time, how would my experience be different, you reckon? Seeing all those innovations around you in the last 3 months or in the last few years, how would my experience would be different?
For me, like, I see there's two sort of different areas of
shorter game, or no?
Well, that's one thing that we always try. It's like it's definitely been one of the mandates of trying to shorten the game, and in reality, it's because people want things done quicker and faster, and they want to consume sports on their time and in their way. So for me, it's like I look at it from there's two different camps. There's going to be for those that are going to be coming to the stadium, and how can we leverage technology to help in that experience. And to me, technology should help remove friction. So it should be from the moment you leave your house to getting home. So through our means as being able to let you know that, hey, there's going to be a delay in transportation, there's a traffic jam, you may want to leave a little bit earlier, help you find parking spots if you're deciding to drive down to the stadium, as you come into the ballpark. Depending again on some of the new social protocols that might be there, being able to schedule your entrance times so you can come into the ballpark at an assigned time, being able to pre-order food, have food delivered to your seats, being able to just interact with players, have special camera angles that are only accessible from inside the ballpark. Being able to give people a unique experience from within the stadium, and then for the fans that are at home, I think it's already starting in that you have apps that are constantly notifying you of updates that are happening. So those that want to just sort of consume the highlights, they're able to do so. I think once you start layering in now the viewing parties on top of that and allowing people to congregate and watch the events together, I think that's going to sort of open up a whole new sort of experience for our fans to consume when they're not in the ballpark. But ultimately, for our fans that are definitely coming to the stadium, my whole hope is that we continue to remove friction for them and just make their experience enjoyable and fun, so they can have memories to remember with their children as their kids grow up.
Remove friction. I like this term. When we are trying to predict the future in terms of innovation, our minds usually can see only linearic change. This is the way our mind is structured. So anything disruptive we cannot see. So if you were asking, I don't know, 1 year before Uber started, somebody from the taxi industry, what his predictions, he would have a very clear predictions. But when disruption is coming, everything changes. Yeah. The same with, you can say with, what's her name? The app that, you can travel with instead of hotels.
Airbnb,
yeah. Total disruption that impacts and change the future. And I think also in our industry, yeah, we have our predictions and we usually make them as well, but interesting to see what kind of disruptive innovations will come, which will really, if we look at this recording 5 years time, whether we were, right, a little bit high, right, or totally off the hook. Anyway, interesting for me to know a little bit about you. 20 years ago, did you knock on the door of the Jays? How did it happen that you started working for them?
Well, it's the story is not all that not that exciting or sexy, but it was really in university. I was a teaching assistant during my last term there, So I was walking by the career center, and I said, "Okay, let me go check out, see what positions are possibly open," because I completely intended to take the summer off. It's like been
What
in
did you
school.
study?
It was computer science. So it was computer science at the University of Toronto,
Yeah.
and so went in, saw this one job, said, "You know what? Okay, I'll apply for it." It was really the only job I had applied for.
But you were a baseball fan, crazy, die hard, or not really?
No, I was a baseball fan, but I wasn't one that followed it to knowing every player's stat and know how many options they had or like what they were in the minor leagues. It was just, I would say not a super fan, but a good solid casual fan
Yeah.
of the sport. But the reality was, it was just one interview, then the second interview, then a week later, a phone call that said, "Hey, we'd like to offer you the job," and that's where I've been ever since. And started with them as a systems analyst, and worked through the years, and grew with the organization as the organization has been growing, and then very lucky to be able to have the position that I have now.
Wow. The next stage is just to write the book. How did you manage to go over this COVID period and live to tell the tale?
That was definitely, COVID was something that we never would have thought we would have to experience, but like as an organization, I think we did really well in terms of taking care of our fans, taking care of the staff, taking care of the players, and just being able to come out on the other side, and hopefully, a vaccine will come, and we'll be able to get some normal back into our lives.
Yeah. Now, if I'm a startup, which I believe I have an amazing solution that we can disrupt the baseball game, and I live in Toronto, and I want to approach you. What is the advice you would give me to be able to be effective in that? Do I come in? Do I call? Is there a way to approach you at all, or is there how does it work?
I think a lot of the times, because the reality is, we're pitched quite a bit. It's try to come up with something that's unique, or have a functioning demo where we can see what the product truly is. But a lot of times it's just simply trying to just ask questions, and a company that actually takes interest into what we need, versus just wanting to come and show something, is always going to sort of open the door and make it easier, than just trying to pitch a product. So it's always a challenge, because you definitely you do get quite a few people wanting an opportunity, but it's incumbent upon all of us in the industry to look at those opportunities that come, because like I mentioned before, it's really going to be, these startups are going to be the disruptors. The disruption is not going to come from the established players. They'll most likely buy the startup to take on their technology, but a lot of the times it's these new nimble startup companies that are going to be able to sort of drive us forward. So I think just reaching out through even through social media channels of having something will get our attention. Like we're definitely going to be open to looking, especially for something that'll help us engage our fans, or reduce costs, or help us improve even our player performance.
Great. Now, last question, Anthony. Next Tuesday, you're going to be part of the demo day, the big demo day. Over 1,000 industry leaders already registered. So we are really looking forward for an exciting event. And if there is a team now or a club that is considering whether to join this program, the HYPE Global Virtual Accelerator Program, what would you say the three main values you took out of that?
Well, I think for us, and for me personally, is being able to help a startup, and just being able to offer some suggestions, was something that I found was very fulfilling for just personally for myself. I think the other value is you're going to see and learn and experience things that you probably would not have thought of before. Like, you're going to see some really innovative companies, really passionate people, that are coming forward with these ideas, that you'd be lucky to be able to work with people that have passion, because I think those are the ones that are really going to go to the wall for you, and making sure that your needs are met. And I think the third one is, this gives you the opportunity to be a leader, and in taking a chance with some of these startups, and being one of the first to market, to be able to show that, look, we're being innovative, and we're working with a startup, to bring something new and exciting to the fans.
Excellent. Good. Any question you have for me, maybe?
I know. What did you think of hype, and sort of how it felt through the times through COVID, and did you think that it was going to be as successful as it has been so far for the accelerator?
I think there is a lot of cliches around companies and teams operating in challenging times, but for me, really, it was about the team rising up and taking some active decisions. We're talking about early March of creating this global virtual activity, and really creating a platform for people like yourself to engage with. And I'm really proud of we are a small team. People think that we are less than 10 people. Yeah. So for me, this is remarkable. And also, I think when we, our heart is in the right place and we do something we love, everything becomes easier. In everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So here we are. So thank you very much for sharing those insights. I think this was very interesting, and for the different, I would say, stakeholders in the sports universe listening to us or to the recording, whether you're a startup or a team, a club. This was, I think, fascinating. Thank you, Anthony, for that. And we are looking forward to see you next time in this Live with Hype sessions. And if you want to still catch up and register for Tuesday, you can find in our social media the personal invite to the big demo day, so you can see what's happening and what are the new innovations to disrupt the sport universe. Thank you very much, Anthony.
Thank you.